There are millions of spiritual scriptures, books in the planet Earth. From the time immemorial, human beings are creating spiritual scriptures. Continuously, human beings are creating spiritual books. Bhagavad Gita, the book on which we will be speaking, we will be studying, is incomparable. You can't compare this book with any other book. Not just because we are speaking on this book, but I can say one thing for sure. There is no other book which has penetrated human consciousness so deeply. There is no other book which has made so many enlightened beings on the planet Earth like Bhagavad Gita. There is no other book which is a complete encyclopedia of spirituality. I can say the Bhagavad Gita is unabridged dictionary and encyclopedia of spirituality. All the spiritual scriptures can be classified in three ways. One is Shastras, means the books which gives you the clarity about the aim or the goal of the human life. Shastra means the book which teaches you how to live, what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of the life, which gives you an intellectual understanding about the ultimate man, God, life. All your major questions are answered intellectually, logically. We go on. We can put any type of questions. You will have the answer. Logically, you will be convinced to follow the ultimate path, that is Shastras. There are so many hundreds of examples we can give, which is Shastra. Even 10 commandments, they are Shastras. The books which gives you regulations, do's and don'ts, vidhi and nisheda. Do's and don'ts, which tells you what has to be done and what should not be done, which guides you in the life. It is called Shastra. There is another kind of literature which is Stotra. The man who realized the ultimate, the man who has experienced the truth, the person who had the glimpse of the divine love, the divine experience, or his self, who has seen the reality. He expresses his joy. It is called Stotra. You worship, you surrender yourself to the divine. That is Stotra. The literature from heart. Literature from head is Shastra. Literature from heart is Stotra. There is another kind of literature which is called Sutra. Means which gives you the technique to reach that state. Shastras gives you intellectual understanding. Stotras give you emotional feeling. Sutras give you being level experience. Shastras are like signboards. You need them. Shastras are like signboards, intellectual scriptures, which explains about the basic things of life. Stotras are things which helps you to surrender to the divine. The glory of the divine is expounded in stotra. The third sutra is a literature which gives you the technique to achieve the devotion or the enlightenment. Shastras by themselves cannot lead you to enlightenment. They can be a good support. They can take you to an enlightened master. Till that point, they are great. They are real help. Stotras, again, stotras are spoken from the level of emotion, feeling. Stotras should be an expression of your feeling. When you have the deep feeling, you just express it. It flows through your being. Your whole being is flowing. That is stotra. The third thing, sutra. Sutra means the technique which helps you to achieve the goal of the Shastra or goal of the Stotra. Goal of the Shastra is Atman. Goal of the Stotra is God. Of course, both are one and the same. Two different paths. There are people who are intellectual oriented, who are centered on logic, analysis, calculation. For them, for that kind of mind, you need Shastras. You need intellectual scripture. There are people who will not do anything unless they are intellectually convinced, unless they are clear about the whole thing. Of course, we cannot say they should not come for spirituality. There are many scriptures, the stotra level scriptures, which says don't come inside unless you have faith. But I tell you, you should look at the man with little more compassion. You can't put the faith as a main criteria, first criteria to enter into the spiritual life. If you put faith as the first criteria to enter into the spiritual life, you are almost refusing to give spirituality for 90% of the human beings. It is not very easy to believe anything immediately. You cannot believe, and especially in the modern days, the word believe, faith, all these words are outdated. These words can't have any more meaning. These words are totally out of our life. You can't say only a person who believes, who has got faith, he can come to spirituality. Spirituality should be given for every being. We should create a system through which we can reach every individual. Our Vedic seers, rishis have created shastras, scriptures, which will give intellectual understanding. Logically, you will be clear of what is the path, what is the goal, why you are asked to do all these things, what for we need spirituality. All these major questions are answered intellectually in Shastras. Shastras gives you a basic understanding what is exactly life, what for we are here. All your questions are analyzed intellectually, logically. The conclusions are given to you. Next comes stotras. Stotra means expressing your experience. Expressing your experience or expressing your devotion, love to the master or the God, to the guru or the God. Expressing your deep love is stotra. You stand in front of the divine. You stand in front of the Lord and you recite your feeling. You express your feeling. Many people ask me, what is this, Swamiji? In your Hinduism you have idol worship. I tell them, no, Hinduism don't have idol worship. We don't worship the idol. We worship through the idol. Please understand. There is a very big difference between worshipping the idol and worshipping through the idol. When you stand in front of the God, when you stand in front of the idol, do you say, "Oh stone, please give me boon. Oh stone, please heal me. Oh stone, please save me"? No. You say, "Oh God, please save me. Oh Lord, please save me. Oh Prabhu, please save me." Please understand. We don't worship the idol. We worship through the idol. So what we are not doing is not idol worship. Hinduism don't have idol worship. We worship through the idol. In Vaishnavism, there is a beautiful word. Archavatara means the idol which is worshipped in the temple is called incarnation of God. Archavatara, incarnation of God. It is not just a stone. Incarnation means the divine descending on the planet Earth. Just like how we have all the incarnations. Here there are all these 10 incarnations, Dasavataras. Matsyavatara, Kurmavatara, Narasimhavatara, Vamana. All these avatars are there. Just like in incarnations, just like all these avatars. The stone or the idol which we worship in the temple is called Archavatara. We relate to the divine through the Vigraha, through the Murti. When you stand and pour yourself, it is called Stotra. All the songs of Alvars, Nayanmars, Meera, Chaitanya, all these songs written by the great devotees, these are called stotras. And people always come and ask me, "Swamiji, sometime I don't feel like chanting these stotras. Should I do it mechanically if I feel, even if I don't feel like doing it, should I do it?" I tell them, do it. 1 or 2 days you may feel little mechanical. But I tell you, the moment you start enjoying the meaning, the moment you start understanding, it will become your being, it will become your feeling. When you express your heart, it becomes stotra. The next thing is sutra. Sutra is a kind of literature which gives you a technique to reach the enlightenment which is showed by the Shastras, to reach the devotion, the ultimate bhakti which is expressed by stotras. Shastras are from intellectual level, stotras are from emotional level, sutras are from being level. There are 3 kinds of human beings who are head oriented, who are heart oriented, who are being oriented. To fulfill every kind of human being, our rishis have created 3 kinds of literatures. Enlightened people have created 3 kinds of literatures: Shastra, Stotra and Sutra. Here is a book which is all three put together and something more. Bhagavad Gita is the only book, I can say one and only book, which is Stotra, Shastra and Sutra. It is Shastra. It gives you a clear intellectual understanding about the life, about the Atman, what is to be done, what should not be done. Vidhi and Nisheda, do's and don'ts are clearly explained. I have not seen any other book explaining so deeply. Please be very clear. Just explaining do's and don'ts will not do. Giving the intellectual reason why it should be done and why it should not be done is necessary. There are many books which says how many times you can marry or whether you should marry at all. There are so many literatures to explain, but there are very few books which gives the reason why you should do or why you should not do. Gita is the only book which gives you a strong intellectual base, intellectual clarity. Gita is the ultimate scripture, which is Shastra and Stotra and Sutra. When it says Nainam Chindandi Sastrani Nainam Dagati Pavakaha, when it says the basic ideas, when it explains the basic concepts about the Atman, about the life, it is Shastra. When it says Namo Purastat Prushtadaste Namostude Sarvadayeva Sarva, Arjuna is doing the stotra. Arjuna is praising the Lord. He is expressing his devotion. O Lord, I bow down to you from all the sides. You are the ultimate. This book is stotra. When you read all these lines, you experience this book as a stotra. There is another one beautiful sloka. Ananda Viryam idamikravat Ananda Viryam ida vikramastvam sarvam samapnoshi tadosi sarva. These slokas prove Gita is stotra. Then there is another sloka from Dhyana Yoga. Samangaya sire grivam Darayanna chalam stiraha Samprekshana sigakram swam Disaschana valogayan. This gives you the straight technique how to meditate. Through these slokas, Gita is proved as Sutra. Gita is Shastra, which gives you intellectual understanding, and it's a Stotra, which creates emotional love for the divine, and it's a Sutra, which gives you the technology of reaching the experience. And something more. What do I mean by the word and something more? Not only he explains all these things, he repeats it again and again and again so that it will be drilled in you. Somebody asked Buddha, for 40 years you are speaking, but you are speaking the same thing. All your teaching can be reduced to one book, Dhammapada. It is reduced to one book, Dhammapada. They asked him, why are you speaking the same thing? Buddha says, yes, I speak the same thing because you never hear. You never listen because you don't listen. Again and again we miss. There are three kinds of doctors who just gives you prescription, one level doctor. Third level. Second level, he gives prescription and medicine both in your hand. He gives you the medicine also, not only prescription. There's another kind of doctor. First level, he opens your mouth and puts the medicine. He sees that you take the medicine. Krishna is first kind of doctor. He sees that you experience. He is result oriented. There are three kinds of professors who just gives you the syllabus. One kind of professor, he tells this is the syllabus, read and come and give the exam. Another kind, he tries to explain every subject. He tries to make you understand. The third, or I can say is the first grade. He sees that you produce the result. He sees that you pass. Krishna is a master. He sees that you understand. Again and again and again, he repeats the truth. He is never tired. He is not tired. He is not feeling bored. I tell you honestly, nobody else except Krishna can have such a deep patience, compassion, sympathy. 700 slokas he is repeating continuously, again and again and again. He has to repeat the same thing. I can be sure of one thing, at least I don't have that patience. I can't imagine repeating the same thing so many times unless you have a deep compassion, unless you have a deep concern, unless you have so much of sympathy. You cannot do this. Again and again and again he repeats. It is a philosophia, not philosophy. Here is the book which is Shastra, Stotra and Sutra. And here is a man with whom you can relate in all three levels. Whether you are intellectual, emotional or being level. His life itself is his message. He lived what he preached. He lived what he preached.